Whatever it is, don't be afraid of its plenty. Joy is not made to be a crumb.
Clint brought so much light and energy into every conversation he was in, and I really feel that today as we're gathered here in his honor.
The thing I will remember most about Clint is that he was insanely talented.
He always laughed at every single one of my jokes, which I greatly appreciated.
Every time I think of him, I'm going to think about how he giggled and laughed. He was always the center of the fun and making everyone feel welcome.
How warm he was, how friendly. He really set the bar high and made me feel like I was joining a really great team.
I'll just always remember all the joy that he brought everyone and just the impact that he left on our team. We're all just really happy to have had the time that we did have with him.
When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches, and they call again. It's simple, they say, and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine.
So everybody, thank you so much for joining. Wanted to take an opportunity to make a toast to our dear friend and colleague we miss so much, Clint. I always talk about Clint and I use the word sunshine. Clint was just the sunshine on our team. He was sunshine of every interaction that we had with him. He just eluded so much joy and kindness, and his talent was second to none, but it was who he was as a human being and just the joy that he brought to this team that I miss so much, and we will always miss. There will always be a hole in our hearts and on our team, but he also enjoyed a good time. He enjoyed art, and we did some of that today. He enjoyed a good cocktail and a good toast, which we will do to him now. I want to thank Clint for pulling some strings and giving us this amazing, beautiful, sunny California day to remember him by. But just a toast to our dear friend who we miss so much. Thank you, Clint, for all of your contributions, and we love you and we miss you. So, cheers to Clint! Cheers! Cheers. Cheers, everybody.
I feel so lucky to have had the chance to work with Clint and get to know him over the past year and a half. And I don't know, just he really was someone who could light up a room even from thousands of miles away, like just kind of brighten the spirits of everybody in a conversation. And as talented as he was, as smart as he was always just so encouraging of other people and kind of the first to lift up other people that he was working with. And I think that's something I'll definitely miss. And I'll try my best to carry forward, I think, some of that Clint energy. I think it's something we all will.
I didn't work with Clint like every single day, but I do remember his visits to the office. He was so delightful. At Vanguard, sometimes you can feel like you have to be a little bit buttoned up, and he was just so friendly. He truly was a light, and he really did make me feel incredibly welcome and comfortable, and just take a pause and really enjoy life.
When I think of Clint, I think of a quote by Urban Yulom, which is paraphrasing, but essentially you die twice. Once when you stop breathing, and then a second time, the last time when anybody says your name. And with Clint, I think he's gone far too soon. His first life is too short. But I really believe he'll have a very long and prosperous second life, probably longer than most of us, because he was an absolute gem of a human being and just was a joy to everyone who interacted with him. And he'll be spoken about very fondly for a long time, and I'm sure his friends and family believe that as well. So we miss him already, and we know we'll see him soon.
Clint was on my team for the 2+ years that he was at Vanguard, and he brought something special, not just to our team, but to the whole agency. And as we all know, he was such a huge, shining, bright star, and we miss him every day, and every single piece of thing that we work on, he's been a part of. So he's really still with us. And even though he's irreplaceable, we're all just really happy to have had the time that we did have with him. Clint was such a bright light on our team from the second that he joined, and I'm just really grateful that we had a couple chances to spend time with him in person. And, we took him out, we took him to Philadelphia. We tried to convince him to move here as hard as we could, but I'll just always remember all the joy that he brought everyone and just the impact that he left on our team.
I just wanted to share my experience with working with Clint. It was truly amazing. I used to work with him almost every day. We used to chat or email or get on a video call, and every time he would be there, he was just so real. There was this surprise element to him where he was always happy. There was always sunshine around him, and even if work was work, he just gave it the importance that it deserved. His life outside of work was so important to him that when 5 o'clock just hit, he would disconnect and take it for the next day. And I just wanted to share that it was a pleasure working with him, and we will miss him greatly, and he'll be with us forever.
So when I first met Clint, we got along right away. One of my favorite things that everybody always gives me crap for is that he always laughed at every single one of my jokes, which I greatly appreciated. I know when I project managed and I saw Clint on a project, I knew, 1, it was going to be great. 2, it was just going to be perfect. So we're going to miss him a lot. He was a great dude, and definitely going to miss him.
I just wanted to say it's been such a pleasure to get to know Clint as an individual. Every interaction I've had with him has been amazing. When he came out here to visit us in PA for the first time, and the second time, I really got a chance to sit down with Clint, go out and grab drinks with him, and really get to know him as a person, as an individual behind, really face behind the screen of working with him, and really value the friendship that I had made with Clint and all the experience he had. And one thing that I'll always remember of him is that when he came out here, he knew the first time was for my birthday, and just met him maybe a couple months prior to that, and he had a card for me wishing me happy birthday, kind of welcomed me to the team. And that's something that I'm always going to hold dear to my heart, is how hospitable he was, and just how loving and caring he was, and how he was able to tell a good joke and take a good joke back. So really appreciate it.
My name's Maureen Gorman. I worked with Clint. I was a creative strategist and he was a designer. I worked with him a lot when he first started as a contractor, and we were home during the pandemic, and he was just so much fun to work with. I just loved it. And he worked with me on a couple of rush projects, and I always felt bad about it. I was always like, oh, we're like taking shortcuts through the process. Can you just do this? And he was just like, boom, every single time he would give me the work so quickly.
Hey, I'm Miles Dawson. I worked with Clint for about the last year. He was one of the first people I met when I joined Red House, and I remember in our meet and greet just feeling how warm he was, how friendly, how funny, and how talented. And he really set the bar high and made me feel like I was joining a really great team. Got to work with him on a few projects, and I always appreciated not only his just sheer talent and brilliance, like I felt like so many times he just had these strokes of genius, but also something I appreciated was he was almost equally left brain, and he was a real rule follower and somebody that would actually give us structure when we were kind of circling and chaotic. And I love that about Clint, that he had both sides. And then finally, I'll just say, got to meet him in person the one time when he came to visit us for our sort of summer picnic event, and he was just such a ray of light and like this celebrity that everybody wanted to talk to, and everyone was so excited to see in person. And I think like the smiles that he put on us that day, and really every day working with him, are going to be like the same smiles that we always think about whenever we think of Clint from now and going forward. And we loved Clint so much, and we miss him.
The thing I will remember most about Clint is that he was insanely talented, but he was never thinking about himself. He was always there to build everyone else up and make sure everyone else felt really great about the work. And the relationships he was able to build being in LA with people here were amazing, and a credit to who he was. We were really good.
Hi everybody, I just want to share one of my favorite memories of Clint. Every time I think of him, I'm going to think about how he giggled and laughed. Probably the first time we worked together was over the phone, and I quickly absolutely loved the laugh he had. And I learned over time his laugh could mean many different things. Sometimes it was an uncomfortable laugh, sometimes it was a joyful laugh, and sometimes my favorite one was a naughty laugh, when we were maybe up to something a little no good. And I absolutely loved his smile as well. So on my rock today, I have smile. Every time I think of him and his face, I'll always have a smile on his face. He was a beautiful human being. And I also just want to take a moment to talk about his work. I think a lot of people could say what an amazing person he was and a beautiful person, but his work was incredible. He was one of the most gifted designers I've ever worked with. And I mean, it was just a pure natural talent that I envied as well. So he will be dearly missed, and but I will always have very fond memories of him.
Well, so I just wanted to share my rock in memory of Clint. It was inspired because I know he loves polka dots, and I also, like, this reminds me of him because I always, when I think about Clint, I think about our big R.I.P picnic last fall, and he just amazed me of how much he jumped into everything he did, no matter what was asked of him, no matter what was going on. He was always the center of the fun and making everyone feel welcome. And I remember walking away from that day being like, I just wish I could spend more days with Clint. And so that was what was rock and what Clint means to me.
Cheers to Clint!
Cheers.